Alright, make another video with this camera. See how it goes this time. A little more light. Looks pretty horrible in there, but we'll see. Anyway, not much to report on. Still working on the physics stuff, so I'll post a link to this is the gravity one, the big one, the big picture, whole story kind of thing. So, yeah. So, some of it's the same as what I had on the website. Just, just be adding more to it, to images and whatnot eventually and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, just don't make sense to me anyway. Yeah, I did want to clarify something. Somebody left some kind of comment here. I made that line in the last video, like, what's in it for me? And I was sort of playing on the off the day thing. But I was saying it more in the, not what's in it for me as an individual, but as an individual who's a progressive, or as an individual who believes in social rights, who doesn't want a bunch of religious people voting against people's right to, express their sexuality in whatever harmless way they wish and that kind of stuff. What's in it for me as an atheist? What's in it for me as a person who doesn't think, who doesn't have, limited means, let's just say, who just doesn't see any point in, who doesn't want to live in scabolia, where, everybody's just a wage slave. So it was, what's in it for me as somebody who believes in civilization and progress and knows that the road there is not going to be paved with religion and God and all that crap, and that's just a liability, and it's exactly the opposite of what you want. And so that's, if I didn't make that clear in the video, I just want to make that clear. It's not so much what's in it for me, and like, I certainly don't have to personally profit from doing somebody else a favor. But again, you don't want to, it's just logical not to destroy the stuff you value by rescuing something. You don't, you don't let your, I don't know how to, I mean, you don't kill your dog to make a life preserver or something. I don't know what the way to say this is, but yeah, you don't, rescuing people can't cost you. It can't cost too much, and I guess the point here is that it costs too much, and the people you're rescuing aren't harmless. They're carrying a disease, stupidity, and it's really virulent and nasty, and it'll kill everything it touches eventually. Destroy it, disable it, corrupt it, poison it. So, anyway, I just want to make that clear. Well, I guess I sort of did, but I don't know, I didn't do a very good job of it. So, anyway, the moronic holiday has made some another dumb titled video, so I shouldn't play it, but I'll play along with this one. I'll play it anyway, we'll just see. I'm not going to even point the camera at it. Mostly because this camera doesn't move as well as the other one did. I mean, it's wired and such. I have to make it more of a portable camera, but some other day for that. Yeah, hypocrisy of inmendham in capital letters. Political bigot. How do you even make sense out of that phrase, political bigot? I mean, it's just what, I'm prejudiced against Republicans? Yeah, I don't know. I don't get you. Yeah, you're an idiot and a liar and a moron. But we already knew that. Alright, so I'll hit the button. Ew. The horror. The horror.
Unfucking believable.
Unfucking believable.
I don't understand. Why do you think I want immigration? How the fuck do I benefit?
inmendham is the largest hypocrite on YouTube. He has to be. The, the most immense of liars here. Yeah,
How
he has
so?
the audacity to make videos time and time again.
Right, time and time again. So I have a consistent message over and over again. And what do? Oh, you quote mine again. Your typical moron tactic. And in the video, like I said, I did describe the progressive values. I did point out about civilization and all this kind of stuff. So it wasn't like I didn't make it understood that I'm talking about these values. I made the analogy of California and the gay rights subject. So there was no doubt about what I was talking about when I said my interest. My interest as a human progressive, as somebody who believes in civilization, that thing. So again, you can't ever get it right. Ugh, you're such an obnoxious, fucking, petty asshole.
Objecting to all his detractors
Please
about
today.
how they're just me first, what's in it for
Right, and that has to do with life itself. The question of what is life and what do we do with life itself and all these issues. And so you're saying that in as soon as you say in some circumstance that you're allowed, if I concede that there are circumstances where you're allowed to recognize something as a liability, a threat to the stuff you value, you're saying that me first doesn't make any sense. And I'm saying, no, that's perfectly consistent with what I'm arguing for. Your values are part of that logical projection. They're part of the rational part of you where you're recognizing that something won't work, for example. It's just a fact. It won't work. You can't mix these two ingredients without it exploding or something. You have to concede that fact. You can't pretend that it's not a fact. And even if there's something you'd like to be able to do, you'd like to be able to help. Sometimes you'd like to be able to help somebody, but you can't because they're going to destroy something of value. And so I think I made that clear. But anyway, so if the whole video is just going to be about playing another I got you game when you didn't get me, and again I've made 4,000 videos. It's clear what my argument is about where you have to follow the logic. And again, am I not following the logic here? Where is there any logical incentive for somebody to say, yes, destroy my political power, destroy my civilization, so I can rescue people? That this doesn't make any sense. They're going to sink your boat. It's like the lifeboat argument. You could almost argue, yeah, I'm really sorry you sank your boat and now you don't have a boat, but you're not climbing in this one because you'll sink it too. I mean, that's sort of the analogy. These people aren't harmless. Okay, the reason why they're running from some place is because they didn't take care of the place they were at. Quite obviously. I mean, really, these countries wouldn't be so bad if these people didn't, in some way, endorse what was going on and say, yes, I want a religious state. Yes, let's kill the atheists. I mean, that's essentially where they're coming from, a country that basically the policy of their government was kill atheists. And I'm supposed to think it's a good idea if we rescue them. Yeah, right.
me characters that have this nihilist outlook, yeah, and he as I
Well, whatever. Same should be treated same again. So what's the argument here? I made it clear. I said, look, if they sign a piece of paper saying I disavow the evil ethics of my home country, I don't wish to kill atheists or homosexuals, I don't wish to harm anyone, all right, I just wish to work and be a participant in a civilization, No bigotry. Yes, let them in then. But force them to sign it. In blood.
I've often said is if you pay attention to the in between the lines to speak, yeah, and
Yeah, to speak, right. So again, just ignore hours of videos, right? It's not like I sit there and just say something and then run away. No, I spend time explaining things and all of that stuff. These are hour-long videos. It's not little 3-minute videos. So there's no confusion, legitimate confusion here. Again, you're just playing your petty little Weasley game, and so we'll be done with this. You're an asshole. Continue to be a preposterous asshole. So I guess we'll just play with Anticontavat a little bit. Didn't watch his previous ones, but this one just seems so funny, right? The asymmetry and free will. This ought to be a little bit funny.
I just want to make something clear. Some people seem to think, based on the comments that I've received on the last couple of videos, that I'm somehow making a case for what is colloquially known as free will. I am not. I'm sort of, as I always tell people, agnostic, or perhaps agnostic is more...
Agnostic. Yeah, well, that's just brilliant. Whatever.
accurate in terms of my view of free will and
Well, whatever. Yes, I don't know. You can't decide even on that subject, so you can't figure out logically whether it makes any sense, if there's any evidence for a God, even if it's even as something you would imagine, whether it's reasonable. I could imagine boulders ran the universe. Like there was like boulders, like big rocks of a certain size, and that they had a cabal and they were the ones running the universe. I can imagine that, but there's obviously no evidence for it, so you throw it out as an idea. Well, every god has the same problem. There's no evidence for it. It's a silly idea. And you can't do that, and now you can't make a decision on free will, which is what is free from what? Free from what? No, I have knowledge of stuff, and really the only competition is between how big a selfish asshole am I going to be. I'll know what the right thing to do is. I'll personally gain from doing the wrong thing, and those two things get balanced, but there's no freedom involved. I mean, you either have character or you don't. You either can imagine your grandfather spinning in his grave, being humiliated by your behavior, or you don't have some mechanism like that. And obviously you're arguing for people not being controlled by any notion of guilt or humiliation for being an asshole. So go ahead and be an asshole is your argument. Asshole.
determinism, and I think that in some ways it's something of a false dichotomy, but in many ways...
I don't know. False dichotomy. A mechanical universe based on rules, and pretty much ones you just can't break. You have to take piano lessons to know how to play the piano. You gotta learn how to speak English to speak English. It's just rules. No magic.
I think just about every kind of dichotomy may be a false one. So, let me explain.
That being said, I'll just pretend I didn't make that point, and I'll just keep pretending there's a dichotomy, a confusion, some reason for doubt.
I'm always suspicious of the term free will, but I'm equally suspicious of the idea of determinism, because I see elements of both in my life. Yeah, I see the elements.
I mean, that's just so funny, right? I mean, I just don't know where you get that from. You're suspicious of determinism in the sense that what? Like again, you do think you played the piano without learning how?
Both in my existence. For example, there's a lot that is sort of my facticity, as some would call it, or a lot of stuff is just sort of seems to be determined for me. I'm subject to gravity. That's determined. I have no control over that. I was born. I have no control over that. I was born as a male. I have no control over that. I was born in a place called Canada. I have no control over that.
Those things really aren't the subject of determinism, I don't think. But anyway, go ahead. I mean, you should get to something a little more sophisticated, a little more challenging.
born into a certain family. I have no control over that. It just goes on and on. A ton of that stuff is my facticity. My choices are limited by my circumstances. I don't have a choice right now to go and lay down under a palm tree because it's 40 degrees below zero here right now, and there are no palm trees. So there's all kinds of things that are determined and that kind of box me in. I have no control over that. So you sort of, all kinds of things would say that, or all kinds of things would point to me living in a determined universe.
Get to the free part.
But in some ways, it's not determined because I have the faculty of choice.
Right. You have the illusion of the faculty of choice. You have a perception that somehow your brain is vacillating in some sort of unknown realm where it doesn't have facts, where it won't just make a decision by processing the environmental circumstances and your condition, and it won't just have an outcome. So it's like a computer. You're saying there's some place where computers vacillate and they make choices. No, they make decisions. You know, and even if you want to call them choices, they're there's nothing free in them. They're obligatory determinations, outcomes, and yours are just as obligatory. The processing will be the process. Either you will think of your grandfather turning his head in the grave, or you won't. Either you will come up with some reason to say, well, I don't want to, I don't want to do something that, my child would be humiliated by, or something like that. I mean, you're being determined by the circumstance, quite obviously. Obviously.
Or it looks for all the world as though I do.
Again, you say it looks to all the world, and I'm just saying if you look at even, just a little bit of scratching, a little bit of rubbing on your choices, and you'll see what made them. And you can sort of see a little bit of the logic that went into them, the perceptions and emotions and feelings and references to previous circumstances, all that kind of stuff. You can see the footprints. Yeah, they're washed away quickly, but you can see them without looking too hard, and you can see that there really isn't any choice involved.
I have the choice of going to work today or not going to work today. Nobody's forcing me to go.
Well, again, it's not that whether somebody's forcing you, it's whether your brain can make that a reasonable thing to do, not go to work when I'm obligated, and this might compromise my salary, which will compromise my survivability, blah, 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 blah.
But if I don't go to work today, I have to accept the consequences. I have the choice of, obeying the laws or not obeying the laws here in the country I live in. If I choose not to obey the laws, nobody can stop me from breaking the laws.
I mean, it's just kind of silly to say, if I choose to, based on what? What's going to make you choose to do something would be counterproductive? So again, you have to extract the knowledge that it's somehow counterproductive. So even if you were to say you had a choice, the only real choice is you can be retarded, you can have like a brain aneurysm and do something aberrant, something you wouldn't usually do because your brain is now broken. But you're not going to do it because there's anything like there's a real choice. Like this is a decision that isn't going to be made. And certainly there's some decisions that are probably right there on the line, boy. Your brain has to sit there and go through some dissidence to try to figure out what the right thing to do is. But the fact is, it's going to decide a certain way. It's going to tip a certain way, just as a coin is going to flip heads or tails. And there's no choosing. The coin isn't choosing. The table isn't choosing. The thrower isn't choosing. Nothing is choosing. It's a chain of events, period. And they have only one conclusion. I mean, the numbers are already in the equation. It just takes a little bit of time to process it. But the outcome is inevitable. The pluses and the minuses will be done, and that's it. There'll be a product. So why play this game like you could possibly be choosing? And then if you were choosing, the choice would have something to do with something smart or good. The only thing that could possibly make it a non-deterministic choice would have to be some kind of error, some sort of dysfunction. Normal function wouldn't permit it, so it has to be some sort of unnormal error function. So what good would a free, I mean, why associate the word free with dysfunction and error? That doesn't seem reasonable.
But there are consequences to doing so. So yeah, again, I would say that we do and we do not live in a deterministic universe. We do and we do not have something approaching.
Forget it. I mean, it's just so stupid. You know, it's just, what is that? The moon is or it is not made of cheese. No, we know the answer. It's just, you know, maybe some fucktards fall for this, but it's just too stupid. So anyway, enough of that. So, yeah, there is the F-list movie coming soon. But the old fan ran into some trouble. Her computer crashed while it was uploading. And it wishes not. It's choosing. Yes, it's choosing. You know, not to refunction properly. So, yeah, she might have it might be another delay. It's kind of funny. She's just been, you know, struggling with this delay issue. But, you know, it doesn't. I mean, unless I die in the next few hours, it's no big crisis. A few hours difference isn't going to matter. A few days difference. More anticipation, probably better. And such. Probably. Maybe. Anyway, I think that's it. Not much of a video. But yeah, it's yeah. So I gotta find some better people to argue with. But anyway, till next time. Yeah, I have all this other shit to do, so I don't really need to make videos. But you know, I still had the blue sweater, so I figured I'd make a video while I'm wearing my blue sweater. Anyway, till next time. And such.